everyone. Welcome to the show and this edition of Hot Topics in Marketing. I'm very excited to be joined by my friend, Sammy LeBrasseur, who is a social media influencer and professional freestyle soccer athlete. I love that. I played soccer growing up, as you know, Sammy, and I love that. I love seeing your videos. That's very cool. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. And yeah, I still remember the first time we connected on LinkedIn. You sent me the picture where you guys had the crazy hairdos, the mohawks. So that was awesome. I'm doing great, Andy. How are you doing?
Doing really well. Doing really well. I was excited
Glad
to
to
have
hear.
you on with me today. Thanks for joining me.
I'm glad to be here, Andy. Thank you.
So I'm going to brag on Sammy for a minute here. So on his way to amassing over 270,000 followers on social media, Sammy has worked with some of the world's leading brands, including Powerade, Monster Cat, and others. And he's the founder of SAL Marketing. He also competed and performed at some of the largest sporting events around the world and even acted and stunt coordinated in commercials and films. In fact, recently he was in the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes movie and also coordinated a stunt scene involving soccer. How was that?
It was cool. It was really awesome. It was really unexpected too, because my friend Travis, he just called me up one day. I was just sitting in my room. He's like, "Hey, yeah, we're working on a new G.I. Joe movie and we need someone like you." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like, yeah, we have a soccer scene. We need you to train the main actor and all. I'm like, "You want me to train Henry Golding?" Like, okay, sure, let's do it. So I trained him, and yeah, we ended up doing the scene like 3 days after, and yeah, it was really cool. It was a really fun experience being on a movie set, and yeah, it was awesome. And I've also done some other work since then as well, so it was cool.
That's awesome. And you're in the movie, so people will
Yeah,
have to look for that scene with the soccer and
yeah.
try and pick you out.
It's at the beginning when he's walking through the alley, and I'm
Okay,
the tall guy with the big hairdo.
very cool. So I just learned that today. I'm definitely going to be looking for that in the movie for sure. So today, you and I are going to be talking about some hot topics in marketing, along with secrets to success. So just to kick things off, where were you? Who were you surrounded with? What inspired you to do what you do today?
Yeah, so right now running SAL marketing, what really inspired me to do this was, I've been in the social networking, the social media sphere for a bit. I've gotten to know tons of influencers that have huge followings, much larger than myself, obviously. And it's always been very interesting to me, just learning about the social media algorithms, how you can growth hack certain platforms, what kind of content performs best, and really just the psychology of how people think and how people consume content, because it's always shifting. So it's just something that I've been really like immersed in. And obviously I moved to LA. Well, for people that don't know, I moved to LA in order to chase my dream of being a pro freestyle soccer athlete, which I achieved. I've built such a skill set in social media that really my passion at this point is more just helping people who have a great product and offering, show that offering to the world in the best way that I can help them through, the content, getting them to master the algorithm and all of those things that I've been practicing. So that's really what I've been doing now.
Awesome. In terms of business, what would you say are one of the two of the key challenges facing executives in business development right now?
For sure. I think one of the things is you really have to understand, from a social media marketing point of view, you really have to understand the content shifts and platform developments. So when obviously, you can guess that I'm talking about TikTok at this point. So, and not just TikTok, you can see that Instagram Reels and YouTube are doing this as well, which is you really need to capitalize on short form content, and you really need to understand how to capture people's attention effectively and what kinds of triggers you need to add to your videos in order to get them to perform well. And so I see a lot of people who, they think they're making good content because it's like, well, I'm providing value. But it's like, well, yes, but you also need to understand how the algorithm actually prioritizes the content it wants to show people. Sometimes it's not always just making the most engaging content. Sometimes you need to just make content that makes people stick around till the end, which is what TikTok is doing. They don't care too much about how engaging the content is, but they measure video success based on the percentage of people that watch the full video until the end. So you need to really understand the algorithms, and you also need to understand the content and how that's shifting, because people are going more and more short forms. Just as is the reality of human nature, how we always joke, our attention spans are shorter than goldfish now. So you really need to just capitalize on short form content.
Great advice, and obviously you're doing well with your following. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to learn more about that. In terms of success, what would you say are 2 or 3 key things that people involved in business development should know in terms of success?
Yeah, one is one that I'm assuming most business executives and higher ups know, but it's just something that I see repeatedly and want to reiterate on it. And that is systems and algorithms really define success, and data. And corollary to that, emotionality can really cloud judgment in a business environment. So, and I've noticed this just with myself and trying to grow my own following, is that it's not necessarily the person that's the most passionate about something, or again, I don't like to say this, but the person who delivers the most value. It's the person who really understands the data the best and can really leverage that, devoid of any emotional biases. One of my people that I look up to, Tom Bilyeu, he always says that emotions connect dots that aren't actually connected. So I would say if people can just master that and find a way. Stoicism was a really big way in which I learned to do this. Really just master control of your own emotions so that you can look at situations objectively, look at the data and think, okay, what's the best way to really go from here? Because it's unfortunate. I see a lot of people, especially like social media creators who are, my friends who I've filmed videos with and who are in my videos, and, I have so many memories with them, but they're still just adherent to this idea that if I'm passionate enough, if I work hard enough, if I just put out what I enjoy doing, then that's going to give value to people. And it's not always like that, unfortunately. Sometimes you really just need to, be really real with yourself. Take a look at yourself from a third person perspective, from a point of self-awareness, and just say, okay, the data is pointing to this. I might not want to hear that, but that's where the data is pointing. So that's the direction I need to go. And just center yourself, remove all those emotions that are clouding your judgment, all the frustration and all of that, and just look objectively. So that was kind of a long-winded answer, but I hope that made sense.
No, that does make sense. And I think it's really important, we have our own ideas of what we think is going to stick and what's going to bring people and so forth. Exactly. But you really need to follow the subscribers and the views and the number of people interacting, I think that's much more important than what I feel like is important.
Exactly. The numbers don't lie. So
right.
That's always the thing.
Numbers don't lie. Exactly. So, what would you say for our friends out there listening or watching today as a word of advice?
Yeah. So it's a very broad question, but I immediately know how to answer that. So one of the biggest things for myself, and I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with this, one of the best things I did this year and last year was read about Stoicism, to read about the fundamentals of the dichotomy of control, which is essentially focusing all your effort into what you can control and not worrying about what you can't, and just the principles of wisdom, courage, and just all of the principles that Stoicism teaches. I think that if people read more about that, they can really come to center themselves. People can just read those philosophies of truly great men who are able to center themselves even in the toughest times. For example, Zeno, one of the fathers of Stoicism, when he was an entrepreneur himself and he lost everything in a shipwreck, how he was able to center himself and bring himself to inner calmness and really just look at things, as I said before, devoid of emotional confusion and frustration and passion and judgment, and really just see things from a perspective of beauty and just keep going and realize that the best thing you can do is just control what you can and leave the rest to the laws of the universe. And once people do that, I feel, they're going to find that place of tranquility and all of their frustrations will be eased. And I only say this because it's had such a profound effect on my life.
This whole area of social media has just grown so quickly, and there's so many places that people are not using, untapped resources, basically. So I wanted to be sure and get you onto the show with me to talk through some of that stuff. And, what are the best ways for people to get in touch with you, Sammy?
Yeah, for sure. I've been using LinkedIn a lot, working with Andy as well. Andy is great, so I'm sure you guys will eventually work with him as well. Yeah, so LinkedIn, my Instagram is what I use personally, and my TikTok as well. I'm sure you can link those, right?
Absolutely. I can put those in the links below the video there. So we'll be sure and do that. And, it's always fun talking with you, Sammy. Really enjoy our conversations and certainly appreciate you coming on the show with me today.
Thank you, Andy. I have to say it's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you to everyone who's watching. I hope you guys have gotten a lot of value from this. And if there's anything that, I can help anyone with regarding marketing or stoicism, just feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to talk with people.
Absolutely. I encourage you guys to reach out to Sammy. I'm going to include all the links below. And that's going to do it for this edition of Hot Topics in Marketing. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Take care, guys.